So here I am in the Division. This is the PvE area, kind of like a Destiny patrol. You're just going around doing missions. There are kind of bigger missions to activate with friends or matchmake with others. And it's basically your typical sort of sandbox thing. You're leveling up. You'll see I'm level 11 at the top right. And you just accrue loot in very similar fashion. Actually, the colours are exactly the same as Destiny. But you come to the Dark Zone, which I'm entering right now, and this is the only PvP area. And there are NPC enemies in here, but you most want to be watching out for the other players. They're the ones that make the biggest difference here. And it's all to do with the rogue system, which we all see as we go.
Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only.
So as I come in, you'll notice I've got a new rank, which is my Dark Zone rank, and I'm rank 9 in the Dark Zone. So this is to do with the different types of loot that you can accrue. And obviously you pick up the best loot in the Dark Zone. So this is all about loot. I mean, that's obviously what Destiny is generally about, and it's the same here. In fact, I think Ubisoft have taken quite a few leaves out of Destiny's book. You'll notice the enemies purple and yellow. The colour system, as I was saying before, is exactly the same with gear as Destiny. It starts out with white, green, blue, then purple and yellow in ascending order. So yellow is the best, exactly the same here. The yellow are the high-end weapons, and the yellow enemies are the toughest as well. So pretty much exactly the same, and it's all about loot. So just coming in here and getting the best loot that you can find. So I've started by just kind of attaching myself to this group of players who are just battling with these guys here. The enemies we're facing are pretty tough. They're either purple or yellow in the Dark Zone, so you're always facing tough enemies. And there's a couple of levels above mine. So they're a little bit tough, but you can usually get through them in a group. Just dropped a turret there. Got a couple of power-ups. A few tactical things to use in a group. So basically we're just fighting our way through here. First thing I want to do is obviously show these guys that I'm here to support them and not to shoot them. There's no real incentive for them to shoot me at the moment. I've got absolutely no loot. I've just come out and I haven't attacked them. They're going to gain nothing from shooting me, but obviously that can change as things go on. You can actually join a group, so I could basically signal to these guys that want to join a group, and they could invite me, and we could set up a little group, and then you can't actually hurt each other while you're in the group, which is probably a good idea to attach yourself to some people if you're finding it hard. But you have to be wary, because if they suddenly leave, they could be planning to stab you in the back and grab all your loot, which is the kind of stuff that does happen here. This is really all a bunch of pirates, so anyone can really kind of stab you in the back, just kind of wrangle your loot away from you. That's kind of what makes this quite interesting, really, and pretty intense. You'll notice that I've got a little yellow bag now underneath my rucksack, and this signals that I've got some Dark Zone loot. All the Dark Zone loot that you collect is actually contaminated, so you can't just walk out of the Dark Zone with it. You have to extract it via helicopter. It has to be decontaminated, and then it automatically goes into your stash back at a safe house. So what you'll do is you'll actually go to an extraction zone, make a signal, and then that starts a 90-second countdown, and actually basically sounds the extraction klaxon, which tells everybody in the area that an extraction is taking place. So what you'll have is a whole bunch of NPCs converging on one point. a bunch of people, players, maybe in groups, trying to defend the area, stay alive, so that they can send their loot up for extraction, and maybe some pirates, some poachers, other players maybe gone rogue, who are there with the intention to pillage whatever they can. So the extraction zones become really the most intense sections, and you've got to have quite a few people and a solid plan in place to get your loot up. It's kind of like a do or die scenario. It really makes the whole thing intense. I don't think I do an extraction on this video. In fact, I don't think I've managed to extract a single bit of loot so far. All I do is basically just help these guys. So at least you'll get a sense of the action here. Combat system in this game is pretty fun all around. It's a bit bullet spongy, in obviously the way that certain high-level characters take quite a few hits to knock down. I thought the game was going to be a little bit more realistic than this when it first started, but obviously, you know, with the leveling, this is the system that they've used. Obviously, same kind of system that Destiny uses, just higher level, more hit points, more powerful weapons to take them down. But the actual gunplay is really fluid. The cover system is fantastic, really. It all works very well. There's lots of things, you know, to do, lots of ways you can sort of move around your environment, and get into different angles, and basically be as tactical as possible. We've just been flanked around the side by a couple of guys with baseball bats. Never seems very wise to run at someone with a baseball bat when they're toting an assault rifle, but in this game it's actually happens quite a lot, and the enemies that are high level are quite effective with it. Just doing a slightly daring going around the side with these guys. They shouldn't hurt me too much, but you can get caught out actually in this game quite easily, which does happen. I think I come quite close to death here, but there are a few sort of perks and sort of tricks that you can use. I've just dropped like a sort of med pack. Very similar to Borderlands in a lot of these perks, you know, the turrets and med packs. It's just obviously slightly different setting and aesthetic. So I think what just eventually happens here is general suppression of these quite high level guys. Just managed to shoot that guy. They're yellows, so they're pretty much topped up. Managed to collect a bit of blue loot there. That's pretty good so far. You only really start to be able to buy stuff from the Dark Zone vendors, which are just people who apparently live in the Dark Zone and sell weapons at about Dark Zone level 10. So basically, I'm on the cusp here. I'm just trying to level up so that I can start to buy a bit more of their loot. The advantage, oh, you'll see this person has just gone rogue, and now what might have happened is they might have actually accidentally shot someone and had a bounty on their head straight away. The incentive then is for everyone to shoot them, which is rather unfortunate. They obviously weren't part of this group, so if there had been, that wouldn't have made any difference. But we've just picked up their stuff. I've got quite a bit of loot now. I might actually be full, and I've just ranked up. So as I was saying before, the objective for me is to actually get to rank 10 and see if I can get some more of that better weaponry that the vendors sell, because obviously it gives you a little bit more power, makes it a little bit easier, lets you do more in the actual dark zone, and the benefit of buying from the vendors in the dark zone is that the weapons come pre-decontaminated, so you can actually just walk out with any stuff that you buy from them. You don't have to extract it out.
Your division affiliation has been disavowed.
As you can see, I've just accidentally shot someone, and I've gone rogue. Now, I'm immediately running away from everyone at this point because, as you saw what happened to the last person, they may well have accidentally just nicked someone with a bullet, as you do, and then everyone turns on them because they've gone rogue. And what actually happens is that a bounty goes kind of higher and higher on your head as you do more bad things as a rogue. So it's up to you, really, how far you want to go in that. It extends the amount of time that you will basically cool down from being a rogue. It extends the amount of XP that you'll lose and cash that you'll lose upon being killed as a rogue, if indeed you are killed. Now, if you survive, you collect the bounty that that you're actually that is on your head. So it's a big incentive for everyone to kill you and a big incentive for you to survive, and basically you've got to play a scenario as it comes. So I'm just basically waiting here for my rogue status to cool down. This would be a lot more fun with a group, because obviously, you know, you get a bit more support. You'd have a lot more options open to you. Basically, you wouldn't basically just have to sort of run away with a big target
no longer active
on your back. So there it goes. I'm no longer rogue status active, so I can leave. I can go out the checkpoint, and I won't be able to take the actual loot out of this door.
Leaving dark zone.
I will actually lose everything here, so this has kind of been for nothing. That's obviously why it kind of rests on a good plan, and it all boiling down really to some of the extraction. But one thing to note is that you never come out of the dark zone with anything less. So all the stuff that you've already had, which is in your backpack, people don't take that away from you. They can only loot you for stuff that you've picked up in the dark zone. So you really don't lose anything. You just maybe don't gain anything. And obviously, if you do extract your stuff, then you just get it decontaminated, and it's put.
Warning. Contaminated material cannot exit the dark zone.
It's put in your stash box at the safe house, and then you've got it forever. So that's just a quick intro to the dark zone. It's potentially, you know, like really good fun in a group, and I hope to play a lot more of it, really.